Meghan Markle complains that nobody has complained about her for a while.
NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant.
A 169-word kids book that the Irish Times called awful.
Meghan Markle?
You were absolutely right.
That's what she's marrying into. So I hope she likes it. It's going to be weird for her. I would not marry into the royal family.
We seriously need to talk about what might be the most worn-out couple on the planet. And no, not worn out from jobs or parenting. It's something way more dramatic than that. They look drained from constantly having to explain why they're so drained in the first place. And people are starting to notice.
Meghan Markle has confirmed she loves putting flower sprinkles on her food, saying she loves taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it. And I guess that's a bit like what Prince Harry did when he married a briefcase girl from Deal or No Deal.
Yes, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are back in the spotlight again. The Duke and Duchess of Deja Vu. Every single time they show up, it feels like the same story playing on repeat, like a never-ending roast session that just keeps getting louder and messier. People have heard their story over and over, and now every time Meghan steps up to speak, it almost feels like the setup to a joke waiting to land.
The revelation was that Meghan said that she and Harry actually got married 3 days before the royal wedding. Great, now I feel like a fool for waking up at 5 a.m. to watch two married people get married.
Late-night hosts, comedians, and even casual commentators keep jumping in, turning their public moments into punchlines that spread everywhere fast. And now Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live stepped in with a sharp jab that got people talking. He called Prince Harry an unemployed immigrant, and that line hit hard because many people already question what their role even is these days. Since stepping away from royal life, critics say their relevance has faded big time. Some even compare it to something outdated like a dusty DVD collection sitting on a shelf. Now people are saying Prince Harry has been reduced to just another British guy named Harry, standing next to Meghan while the spotlight keeps shifting in strange ways.
Petals that are dried. I started putting them on salads. I started putting them on scrambled eggs.
I'm elevating it by putting dried flower petals on all of my food. And just, it adds a little bit of magic, it elevates things.
The image of royalty feels long gone, and the public keeps questioning what really changed behind the scenes. And remember when they said they wanted a quiet, simple life? That idea didn't land the way they expected at all. Chris Rock jumped in and broke it down in a way that had people talking everywhere. He looked at their big interview and basically said, "You can't step into a royal family and then act shocked when there's drama attached. It's like moving into a haunted house and then complaining about ghosts being there." But Rock didn't stop at just that point. He kept pushing further into the conversation. He addressed the major headline about concerns over their baby's skin tone, and he reframed it in a way that sparked even more reactions.
It was reported that the organizers of King Charles's coronation have officially invited Meghan Markle, and this is nice, at a starting salary of $19 an hour.
Instead of calling it outright racism, he described it as curiosity, flipping the entire narrative on its head. In under a minute, he challenged their claims in a bold way, and the crowd reacted loudly because the moment hit hard and got people thinking from a totally different angle. But things really went to another level when South Park jumped into the mix. They turned Meghan and Harry's whole situation into a wild world privacy tour, and it had people laughing everywhere. The show pictured them marching around with giant signs, loudly shouting, "We want privacy," while doing everything possible to stay in the spotlight.
Like, my life was so hard. Everybody's fucking life is hard.
Yeah,
you were the prince of a
That's true.
goddamn country who dressed up as a fucking Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope? Suck it.
It was over the top, ridiculous, and still hit a little too close to home for some viewers. You can't go around yelling, "Stop looking at us," while signing fresh media deals and lining up interviews back to back. That's not how privacy works in the real world, and people picked up on that contradiction fast. The louder the message got, the more attention it seemed to pull in, and that irony became impossible to ignore. Then Jimmy Kimmel stepped in and had his own moment with Harry's memoir.
Of course, Michael. We love American telly. My brother's fiancée, Miss Meghan Markle, is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m., USA Network. Check it out. She's amazing, isn't it? Yeah?
Right. The only difference between that show and this is people watch this one.
He joked about how Harry wrote an entire book explaining how much he doesn't like talking about his personal life, which made people raise their eyebrows. Putting something like that into a hardcover release just made the whole situation feel even more confusing and ironic. Kimmel also poked at their reasoning for leaving the UK, especially the idea of escaping serious issues only to land somewhere with its own complicated history. Some critics compared it to running away from the cold and ending up on top of Mount Everest, which added another layer of sharp commentary to the ongoing debate.
Acting all dumb like she don't know nothing. Going on Oprah, I didn't know. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. You didn't Google this? It's the royal family!
Then came Joe Coy at the Golden Globes, and he did not hold back at all. The event is usually all about celebration and applause, but he saw an opening and went straight for the Sussex duo with some sharp jokes that had people reacting instantly. He took aim at their Netflix deal and turned it into one of the night's most talked about moments. And he didn't stop there. He painted this wild image of Harry walking up to the actress who played the Queen on The Crown and asking her for money, which got some loud reactions. The joke landed because critics have been saying the same thing for a while now, that their recent moves have been all about deals, interviews, and telling their version of royal life in exchange for big checks. According to that narrative, the past year looked like a steady stream of media appearances and projects, with stories being shared and reshaped for massive platforms. Whether people agree or not, that perception has stuck around and keeps popping up in these comedy bits. Then Jimmy Fallon came in with a completely different angle, and he zeroed in on Meghan's lifestyle content. Out of everything, he focused on the now famous pretzel moment, and people instantly knew what he was talking about.
The story of Prince Harold and his frozen yogurt slinger is so popular, they're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's
Meghan, in what seemed like a more relatable phase, showed a simple routine, but it didn't land the way she probably expected. She took a regular bag of pretzels, poured them into a stylish jar, and presented it like a groundbreaking idea. Fallon leaned into that moment, turning it into a joke about everyday things being dressed up as something way bigger than they really are. But the story didn't stop there, because 2025 had another unexpected twist waiting. A new voice entered the conversation, someone with a bold style, a standout look, and a habit of saying exactly what others were already thinking but hadn't said out loud yet. At this point, the jokes have crossed into full bipartisan comedy territory, and nobody seems to be holding back anymore. Jimmy Fallon jumped in again and took another swing, this time focusing on Meghan's widely discussed interview with Oprah, which had already sparked endless reactions. He framed parts of her story as trying a bit too hard to feel relatable, and that's where the humor really kicked in. Critics pointed out the contrast: a multi-millionaire lifestyle, a massive home, and a royal title.
That was a truly explosive interview with shocking revelations that will stick with us for decades, like this one.
My first job was when I was 13 at a frozen yogurt shop called Humphrey Yogurt.
Even weirder, Harry worked at a sewing shop called Alfred Stitchcock.
While still trying to connect over everyday experiences like craving a simple frozen yogurt treat. That gap is exactly what comedians keep zooming in on. Some compared it to wildly out-of-touch scenarios, like a tech billionaire talking about humble summer jobs or a powerful public figure reminiscing about flipping burgers like it defines their journey. The exaggeration is what makes the joke land, even if it stirs mixed reactions from different audiences. Then Stephen Colbert joined the pile-on with his own angle, and he zeroed in on their nicknames for each other, H and M. He joked that it sounded less like a love story and more like a flashy clothing sale sign you'd see in a store window, which added yet another layer to the ongoing wave of late-night commentary. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get more dramatic, a new wave of drama dropped around H&M, and people were quick to react. Stephen Colbert's joke stuck because, to some viewers, it pointed at a bigger issue, this idea that everything around the couple feels carefully crafted, almost like it's built for attention and headlines rather than coming off natural. That perception has been growing, especially among critics who say the whole image looks polished for maximum impact but low on authenticity. Whether that's fair or not depends on who you ask, but it's definitely become part of the public conversation.
Yes, the Queen summoned everyone to a private meeting at her royal country house, and everyone attended except Meghan Markle, who conference called in. And I'll be honest, I don't blame Meghan for not going, because nothing good happens when white people invite you to the countryside.
Trevor Noah's take is where things really took an interesting turn. Early on, he came across as more supportive, talking about media bias, unfair coverage, and the need to give Meghan a fair shot. His tone was more understanding, and he seemed willing to look at the situation from a different angle than most comedians. But then something shifted, and people noticed it right away. Trevor reacted to that moment where Harry was seen pitching for a Disney voiceover opportunity, and it changed the tone completely. Seeing a prince trying to secure a Hollywood deal sparked a different kind of reaction, and Trevor leaned into that contrast. From there, his commentary slowly moved from support to light skepticism and eventually to clear disbelief, as the gap between royal status and celebrity hustle became harder for him and the audience to ignore. He watched the shift happen in real time, and from his point of view, it wasn't exactly a graceful transition. The whole situation started to look less like a fresh start and more like a messy transformation playing out in front of everyone. Bill Maher stepped in next, sounding almost like a frustrated teacher, calling out something that didn't add up. He pointed straight at the contradiction people keep talking about. On one side, there are complaints about too much attention, but on the other side, there are constant appearances, deals, and headlines keeping that same spotlight shining bright. It's tough for some audiences to take the "leave us alone" message seriously when it's surrounded by announcements, interviews, and media coverage everywhere you look.
If she didn't marry him, she would be on The Bachelor this season. Fighting for Prince. She would be Meghan M. from Sherman Oaks barista. She just got lucky. She got so lucky.
That mixed signal has become one of the biggest talking points in all these conversations. Then Nikki Glaser came through and she didn't soften anything. She delivered a sharp joke suggesting Meghan approached the marriage like a major life upgrade. And it immediately got people reacting. The comparison she made painted a picture of an alternate path, where things could have gone in a completely different direction. Her punchline hit hard because it tapped into a question that keeps coming up in public debates. Some people wonder what expectations were going in, while others think everything unfolded exactly as planned. Either way, her comment added another bold layer to an already intense stream of opinions. The American comedians definitely brought the laughs, but the British comedians showed up with a completely different energy, and they came in sharp. Jimmy Carr led the charge, and with that signature grin, you could already tell something bold was about to land. Carr didn't dance around the topic at all. He called Harry a whining hypocrite, and then pulled up one of the most controversial moments from his past, the infamous costume incident. People remember that image, and Carr used it to question how Harry now speaks on serious issues like racism, creating a moment that got strong reactions across the board. What Carr tapped into is something many critics in the UK have quietly talked about for years. His point wasn't subtle. He basically echoed what some have been saying behind closed doors, bringing it right into the spotlight with his usual no-filter style. The bigger conversation he pushed was about contradictions, and that's where the audience really leaned in. When someone has a life filled with royal titles, historic privilege, and global attention, every move gets examined more closely. That contrast between past actions and present messaging is what fuels so much of the debate. He also pointed at the tension between public statements about changing systems and the reality of being tied to one of the most traditional institutions in the world. For critics, that clash is hard to ignore, and Carr turned it into a sharp, uncomfortable punchline that stuck with people long after the joke landed. There's one British host we still need to bring back into the conversation.
William or Prince Harry? Well, the royal family, right, if you can imagine, they're like our Kardashians. Prince Harry is very much our Kanye.
And his take might hit the hardest of all, not because it's the loudest, but because he seemed to call it way before most people even saw it coming. That's John Oliver, now based in the US, known for tearing into everything from political chaos to strange industry practices with sharp detail. But when it comes to Meghan Markle, Oliver had something most others didn't: receipts that go all the way back to before the royal wedding even happened. He once joked that marrying into the royal family could end up being the worst decision Meghan ever made. And at the time, it sounded like just another clever line. But looking back now, a lot of people feel that comment aged in a way that got everyone's attention. Because Meghan was known as an American actress who spoke openly, carried herself as independent, and built a public image around having her own voice. That identity stood out, and it's exactly why Oliver's early remark keeps getting brought up again in these discussions. The contrast between that version of her and what followed is what keeps fueling debate, with critics pointing to how different things look now compared to what many expected back then. She likely thought things would play out differently, that she'd be embraced and step smoothly into that world. But according to critics, the story didn't follow a fairy tale path. It shifted into something far more chaotic, almost exactly like John Oliver had hinted long ago. What started as a picture-perfect narrative quickly turned into a situation filled with tension, headlines, and constant public debate. And through all of it, the couple continues to present themselves as misunderstood figures trying to explain their side while the noise around them keeps getting louder. Here's where it really stands out for people watching from the outside. If one comedian makes a joke, that's easy to brush off. But when it's late-night hosts, stand-up comics, animated shows, and even satire programs all taking turns pointing out the same patterns, it starts to feel like something bigger than coincidence. At that point, many viewers stop seeing it as some coordinated attack and start wondering if the criticism is coming from repeated contradictions that keep playing out in public again and again. Or maybe it's a lot simpler than people think. Maybe they've just become easy material, and that's why comedians keep coming back again and again. Because from a comedy standpoint, it's hard to ignore when the gap between what's said and what's actually done feels massive. So big you could practically park a royal carriage right in the middle of it. That contrast is what keeps the jokes alive, what keeps the punchlines writing themselves, and what keeps audiences reacting every single time their names pop up again. It's not always about targeting. It's about patterns people can clearly see and comedians turning those moments into entertainment. So now it really comes down to you. Do you think Meghan Markle deserved all these jokes, or did things go too far at some point? Has she become one of the most talked about figures in comedy for a reason, or did the comedians cross a line somewhere along the way? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit like if you enjoyed this, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's next.